All right. What's your name? Where were you born? How old are you?
All right. My name is Anthony Boston. I was born in the South Bronx, South Bronx. I'm double nickel,
What's double nickel mean?
55.
55 years old. Okay.
There
I
you
don't
go.
know math like that. Thank
All
you for
right.
teaching me, young
55,
man.
double nickel.
You look awesome for 55, bro.
Thank you.
First, let me ask you, what was your home life like?
Oof. For years, I thought my name was Mira. Because my mother always, she was a yeller. Mira! Sal de ahí! Mira! ¿Qué tú haces? And I found out later on my name was Anthony. But they call me Tony. Tony! 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 You know, so the home life was very, it was poor. You know, grew up in the system of course, welfare. And then it was a system of make do what you got. And there was 4 of us. Now there's only 3. I'm the baby. So it was interesting because of where we live. We live in the South Bronx and we live right across the street from a park. So whenever it was time to eat, we hear outside, "Go upstairs, ven pa' acá, comida." You know, we run home and go eat. And a lot of times it was what was cooked was what you ate. So if you didn't like it, you didn't eat.
You
See,
can't get up off the table till you finish those greens.
Nah, and it wasn't even greens. It was just Spanish food, like
Mira todos
right.
arroz.
You know, coge ese arroz, habichuela. I don't like habichuela. I was like, I'm not eating that. I don't want it. I was finicky.
Yeah.
So, me being finicky, I didn't eat because I didn't like a lot of the shit my mother made when I was a kid.
So she allowed you to get up off the table, or you had to finish your plate?
We didn't eat at the table like that. There was no getting together and eating. No, we ate when we felt like it. We ate where we ate. There was no dinner table. There was just get your food and go to the room and go in the living room and, you know, watch TV or whatever. For me, I was very, like I said, finicky. So half the time I didn't eat. I didn't like what my mother made. Now, everything my mother makes, I only eat when it's an occasion, like New Year's. I'll eat arroz con gandules, salada de papa, pastel, y pernil. That's once a year. I don't do that on the regular. I eat differently now.
So we can safely say that the Latin diet,
the Puerto Rican, the Afro Latino diet was
horrendous.
Was actually
detrimental to the community.
Detrimental, but you did the best you could. Like soul food.
Yeah, it's like soul
food. They gave you what you could eat. So you made it magical.
Okay. What were your parents like? Your relationship with them, and where did they grow up?
Oof. My father, my real father, didn't know him. He died. He separated from my mom when I was very young. So I was 11 months old, and my stepfather from Puerto Rico, Aguadilla, stepped into the picture and got with my mom with 4 children. No kids of his own. So he stepped up. So imagine 11 months old, 3, 5, and 7. And my pops, to this day, still, God bless him, still here. Still my mom's. My mom's 8 years older than him.
It's weird. You're saying that because the people I've interviewed, the men,
mm-hmm.
with one rare occasion,
mm-hmm.
Most of them don't have their father.
Right.
You fall in that. You fall in that category, but you have a rarity where you have a man who comes and steps up,
right,
for somebody else's family, and raises them.
And raised us. He did the best he could with the intelligence and the education. This is a man who had no education. My mother had a 6th grade education. My mother migrated from Puerto Rico. And I always say one of my verses, I said, who leaves paradise? You know, people leave paradise. My mom left it. Didn't think twice. She just did it. Came to from Puerto Rico to New York. That shit was just unheard of at that time. She didn't speak a word of English. My father didn't speak Spanish. My father was 6'3". My mother's 4'8". Okay, so it was like
that's a vision.
I was like, how the hell? I like it. He's tall. That's how I answer about. I liked him. He was tall, and he was light skinned. You know, his culture was half Irish, half Cherokee. That's the story. I'll stick.
This
with
is your stepdad.
My real father.
Oh, your real father.
My stepdad, 4 foot, maybe 5 feet tall, from Puerto Rico.
Okay.
And his story is kind of interesting because there was a camps that were set up in Puerto Rico, like refugee camps, to work and worked the fields and all that my pops escaped from. My step pops. But I call him my pops because he's no father.
That's your father.
Yeah, he's my father. And when I ask him about it, he doesn't talk about it. He doesn't relive it. He just ignores the question and doesn't want to talk about
Traumatized, probably.
Traumatized. He walks away like this. I don't want to talk about it.
PTSD.
Yeah. He's like, I'm not going to talk about it.
Do you think he'll ever get it off his chest?
Negative. But his style of fathering was, man, eso, charlatan. And he'll yell at you, and that's all. But he was a provider. He spoiled me. Everybody else called him by his first name. I did it for a very long time, called him Saul.
Because it wasn't.
Yeah.
You didn't.
I called him Papi until I got a certain age. Then my siblings made me stop calling him that.
They made you stop calling him Papi.
Yeah. So I called him by his first name.
They felt you were disrespecting maybe your
No, he's not your father. That's what
just
they would
because
say.
he wasn't your father.
Just
Not
because
because
my father.
They didn't respect your actual father. They just
Right.
didn't want to accept the new man.
Nah, they didn't want to accept him as that's not your father.
Even though he was he taking care of them as well? Raising you, feeding you?
Of course.
So what was their excuse eventually? Or did they ever come to terms and say, hey, Papi, what's
They
up?
still call him by his first name.
To this day.
I'm the only one who calls him. I decided a few years ago, I had a conversation with him and said, listen, we had an argument on New Year's Eve. And he was just going in on the fact my sons don't speak Spanish. And I said, okay, I take responsibility for that, which I do. Me and my ex-wife, she's Dominican. We take responsibility for our sons not speaking Spanish. I said, but they still greet you in the proper term, which was bendición. You tell them, Dios te bendiga. They'll say, they'll come and they'll hug you, they kiss you on the cheek. You're the only grandfather they know. So we had an argument, and it ensued where I said, okay, I take responsibility, but what was your excuse when I was growing up that I didn't learn Spanish? Because I spoke Spanglish. Broken.
But,
we can argue this.
No, I'm just saying that most Latin Americans speak broken Spanish.
Broken Spanish.
You know what I'm saying? It's very rare.
Okay.
That the parents take the time out or have the time.
Have the time.
Because they come, usually Latin parents coming from third world country, they're busy working.
They're too busy working.
What do they call them? Latchkey kids. We're home.
Yeah.
Raising ourselves.
Yeah, we basically come home or leave to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
When we come back,
so
we're
they
studying.
Don't really have time to sit
they
there
don't
and
have
teach
time.
You that.
So
and what you're learning is American.
Of course, you learn what you learn.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the responsibility of the individual.
The parent.
Not the parents.
No.
They can come play a part in helping you learn, but
they gotta want to learn.
They gotta want to learn, and
sure.
you can't force learning. You gotta either want to learn it or you're not going to.
So your brothers and sisters, knowing that he raised y'all,
mm-hmm.
They never. Do they at least acknowledge the fact that he stepped up and was a provider?
Absolutely.
They just out of. Well, you saying it's not out of respect, so they just don't give him the title.
They don't.
But they know he's who he is.
They know who he is, but they still won't call him that because they feel uncomfortable. When I decided after my argument, which was, I said, okay, go in, speak. He was arguing with me, going back, but he's getting hyped because he's diabetic and he was twisted, drinking like a mofo. I said, all right. My mother tried to intervene. I told my mother, mind your business, go over there, because he's never had this conversation.
Gotcha.
I said, go over there. I threw them out of the kitchen. I said, go ahead, speak your piece, but before you start to say anything, lower your tone of voice. I'm a grown man now. I'm too strong for you. I will fling you around this house.
And it ain't even about the physical. It's more about, I'm a grown man.
I'm a grown man.
Now.
But I had to tell him that to redirect him.
Okay.
Like, I said, yeah, I'm about that. I'll hurt you. But then I hit him. I said,
but could you hurt him? He's your dad?
Yeah, I could hurt him.
No. It's obviously
I could.
You're younger and he's
but
older.
Would I?
That's my question, because he is your father.
He is my father. I told him, listen, I hit him with the curveball. The curveball was, once I came in, once I got his attention, I said, this can go from physical real quick because you're disrespecting me by yelling at me when we're having a conversation. And he said, this is what he feels. Kids don't speak Spanish. He's just going, I said, okay, that's fine. I take responsibility, but what was your excuse when I was growing up? Because he hit me with you could have taught them on the weekends. I said, you could have taught me on the weekends.
Did you guys ever resolve the conversation?
Oh, this is what happened. It was a very good conversation where my pops went from to listening.
Yeah.
Then I said, here's where it is. I can't change the fact my kids didn't learn Spanish. What I can say is they still want to. It's when they're ready to learn it. They gotta want to. I don't force that. So I said, here's what I've done with my kids. They treat you in the proper capacity. They respect you. You're the only grandfather they know. And everything that I've done, my morals, my so to speak, the way I conduct myself, my work ethics comes from you.
Okay, so you at least acknowledge that he instilled some real stuff.
Yes, and he said, I get my work ethics from you. You taught me that. Get up, go to work, take care of your family, provide. Today's generation is you can't provide alone. You need help. Family needs to be found. You're in a relationship, y'all together take care of it. Money, everything. But one thing you cannot put a time frame on is time. The time you put into your kids and what you instill, that's priceless.
Which makes it even more of a blessing that he stepped up. Because you said it's time. He's giving you the time that your father didn't.
Right.
And time that he could have had growing up and doing whatever he wanted. But he took the responsibilities of another woman's children.
Absolutely.
Not one.
And you know how it went
not
down.
Two.
Yeah.
Not three. What was the joke? He said, you want to know what it's like to have 4 kids? Mm-hmm. Imagine you drowning trying to save 3 kids and somebody hands you a 4th kid. That's a difficult thing.
Absolutely.
It's hard to raise 4 kids. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Your mother. What was your relationship like with your mother?
Oof. My mom was the type to ask, they'll tell you what to do and then tell you shut up after she told you. She was very verbally abusive in the capacity that I'll never forget to this day. I love my mother, but I check her now. My mother's 85 years old.
People think that you can't love someone and still not like them.
Still not like them, of course.
Even your parents.
Even your parents.
You can, and those family, immediate family specifically, you usually love your brothers and sisters, but there's no guarantee that you're going to click.
You're going to click. You're going to bounce. But my brother, as a soul, was a different monster.
Your mother?
My brother.
No,
my mother. Okay, my mother was the type that she yelled and told you some shit. So if you asked for money, that was like the mood changed. Where am I supposed to get this money from? Take it out can I be graphic?
Go.
Okay. My mother said, I'll take it out the pussies from my hair. That's what you want me to do? But in Spanish. That was freaking traumatizing, bro. I was like, what? 8, 9 years old.
Now, but you also said your mother has a 6th grade education, came from Puerto Rico, probably lived in a campo.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying, maybe she wasn't raised by them.
She was not raised by her mother. She was raised by her aunts.
Okay, so that's a...
Diamonce.
That's what a lot of people forget when people get into judging and picking on people or just trying to dissect people. They forget all the nuances in just one person's life.
Right.
One person's day. Let alone how they came from another country to go and raise kids in a new city with no education.
Right.
There's a lot of nuance in her life that no one will ever find out as to why she got to the point where she started saying she's going to pull money out of her. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be...
And I analyzed it. And I went,